जना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवर धारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीर वनचारी यमुना तीर वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी श्री राधा भगवान की, श्री राधा सूत्र महारानी की, श्री गौरताई की, श्री भगवान की। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतुषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्यां जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So this is similar verse which we have read. Andar e anyat evahur vidyaya nyad ahur avidyaya iti shushma dhiranam yenastad vichachakshire. We have read few verses back. Remember, one result is obtained by vidya, another result is obtained by avidya. Similar verse, yeah. Read the translation. Is visual? No. Yeah. One result from the culture of knowledge, another result from the culture of the science. So one aspect of this verse is already discussed by Srila Prabhupada. What is the knowledge? What is the science? And here another aspect will be discussed. Okay. So here he discusses about the 18 items of knowledge, which is discussed in Bhagavad Gita, 13th chapter. Can you open that? Somebody is operating the laptop. I didn't want it to 12. Directly click. Go to the verse. Yeah. Okay, leave it. नहीं आ रहा तो छोड़ दो. Go back. Leave it. उतना नहीं करना है. Come back. So you all know this. Amanitvam adambitvam ahimsak shanti rajavam acharyopasanam शौचम स्थैर्यम आत्मविनिग्रह इंद्रियाशु वैराग्यम अनहंकारे वच जन्मृत्यु जरा व्याधि दुख दोषानुदर्शनम. That verse. All 18 items of knowledge. Yeah. Please read this purport. Somebody can read the purport?
Second, one should not pose himself as a religionist simply for name and fame. Third, one should not become a source of anxiety to others by the actions of his body, by the thoughts of his mind, or by his words. Fourth, one should learn forbearance even in the face of provocation from others. Fifth, one should learn to avoid duplicity in his dealings with others. Sixth, one should search out a bona fide spiritual master who can lead him gradually to the stage of spiritual realization. And one must submit himself to such a spiritual master, render him service, and ask relevant questions. Seventh, in order to approach a platform of self-realization, one must follow the regulative principles enjoined in the revealed scriptures. Eighth, one must be fixed in the tenets of the revealed scriptures. Ninth, one should completely refrain from practices which are detrimental to the interest of self-realization. Tenth, one should not accept more than he requires for the maintenance of his body. 11th, one should not falsely identify himself with the gross material body, nor should one consider those who are related to his body to be his own. 12th, one should always remember that as long as he has a material body, he must face the miseries of repeated birth, old age, disease, and death. There is no use in making plans to get rid of these miseries of the material body. The best course is to find out the means by which one may regain his spiritual identity. 13, one should not be attached to more than the necessities of life required for spiritual advancement. 14th, one should not be more attached to wife, children, and home than the revealed scriptures ordain. 15th, one should not be happy or distressed over desirable and undesirables, knowing that such feelings are just created by the mind. 16th, one should become an unalloyed devotee of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and serve him with rapt attention. 17th, one should develop a liking for residence in a secluded place with a calm and quiet atmosphere favorable for spiritual culture, and one should avoid congested places where non-devotees congregate. 18th, one should become a scientist or philosopher and conduct research into spiritual knowledge, recognizing that spiritual knowledge is permanent, whereas material knowledge ends with the death of the body.
So 18th is something which is hopeful for me. Yeah. So now this is not the first time which we are reading, studying. You might have come across this many times. And this is the Bhakti Shastri. So especially again one more task for say 2 to 3 months for Bhakti Shastris. Those who are doing especially, others can also do. See, in these 18 items of knowledge, you can write in your notebook or text or whatever, where all you find yourself successfully applying this consciously or unconsciously. You applied it successfully in your life. You became successful. Okay. Another thing which you have to write, you saw some other devotee successfully applying consciously or unconsciously these, any of this quality or all of this quality or some of this quality in their life. You got it? Any incidents, any lifestyle example, any practical application? You got? Question is clear or not? Please write it down. many are Bhakti Shastris here? So आप लोगों का हो गया क्या? टास्क दिया है? नहीं, अब बाकी those who are Bhakti Shastris, आप लोगों ने जो अदर डिवोटी का जो एग्जांपल लिखा है, if those devotees are present here, are how many of you have written example of other devotee? The second question. And जिनका आपने एग्जांपल लिखा है, they are present here. 1 2 तो भक्ति शास्त्री नहीं, आप तो हो गया 1 2 ओके फाइन ठीक ओके Got. Rest all everyone has done. Sure. Thank you. So now this was another contemplative exercise. The purpose is that we implement whatever we are studying also in our life, and these 18 items of knowledge, we develop it slowly, eventually, over a period of time. But it does not happen like in a binary way, 0 or 1. One day we don't have it, maybe after a few years suddenly we get it all together. It happens in a gradual way, step by step, slowly, eventually, and we may have sometimes some of these qualities partially. Say we might be having forbearance to some degree, after which our forbearance is gone. No problem, not a problem. Okay. 1 or 2 times we can bear, some public criticism. 3rd or 4th time when he says that, okay, I have to take it to the task, it may happen. But even at just 1 or 2 times, if you showed forbearance, that itself is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. So our failures does not break, like a steel. Different metals have different tensile strength. So our tensile strength to some forbearance, or sometimes some situations like not completely referenced from practices which are detrimental to the self-realization. These all are items we may do to some degree. So that also is a success. That is not a failure. First of all, we should understand. We might have failed to in terms of extreme situations, not a problem. But in general, we are able to do. That is also a success in our life. We are able to forego some little temptations in life. That also is success within devotional service. So we should always be hopeful also in our bhakti. Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he says that those devotees who focus on their anarthas too much, or so they may end up in Shantarasa. But those who focus on the positivity or the leelas of the Lord, hearing more, they are the people who go for Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, Madhurya Rasa. So Shantarasa is also not a bad thing. But then our parampara, our Brahmavada Gaudiya parampara, specializes for Vatsalya, Sakhya and Madhurya Rasas. Generally, according to Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, he discusses in 2nd or 3rd part these things. Fine. So anyone would like to share from here, especially those who are doing Bhakti Shastri? Whatever we have discussed, whatever you have written, anyone would like to share? No need, out of humility also you can share about your good qualities, not a problem. Or if you want to share about others also, that also is okay. Yeah, please, Vikas.
So there are multiple devotees. The last item.
One.
Yes. So the last item, we should not be attached too much to the family, wife, children.
Okay.
So I see examples of devotees here, Damodar Govind Prabhu, Sumit Prabhu, and other devotees as well. So I see that
Damodar Prabhu, Sumit Prabhu don't have wives.
Okay, sorry.
Children.
Prabhuji, you said who is sitting here?
Okay. But you mentioned.
Okay, so regarding Sumit Prabhu, I see
Ah,
that many times, he was the one, because I've lived with him for long years, last 7 to 8 years. So I would see that among our group, he was very much unattached to family affairs, and he would motivate us also to take better steps in Krishna consciousness, so that we could serve more in the mission. So I see that when we practice devotional service, these things come with that, and I'm really inspired to follow these items as well.
fine. So there are two things here also: being unattached and still being responsible. So I'm sure Prabhuji is still being responsible for his parents, doing everything. Unattached means after taking care of the responsibilities, not getting entangled into it. Okay, and that's also one of the quality. So unattached is one thing, and being responsible is also another thing. Unattached does not mean irresponsible, and being responsible does not always means that one has to be attached only. But responsibility is very much important for sure for a devotee.
Even for someone who is a grihastha, he can also have that kind of attachment. That it's not necessary that one has to be a brahmachari, right?
And anything else anyone would like to share? Yeah, yes.
So it is regarding the point number 8, that one must be fixed in the tent of the revealed scriptures. So I found this point in His Grace Dhammagun Prabhu's life. Generally, in the beginning of this ISKCON DHANBAD, when our Rath Jatra was first time was, or Janmashtami festival was holding, that time I was didn't know anything regarding the DT department, but DT department, how to do the things. So I became very tense every time. So every time Namazu came and told that he quoted from the scriptures, especially from the CC, and told that if you remember Lord Chaitanya, then the most difficult situation became the easy. And many times like that, Prabhuji quoted. And at the same time, once due to my actions, one devotee became very much disturbed. So I thought that what I can do, but I will not able to do anything. Then Prabhuji have pacified that devotee, and I was not thinking that how Prabhuji can, and then Prabhuji also quoted many pastime from CC and pacified that devotee. So from that I understand that how much Prabhuji is
Fixed up in the scripture. Thank you. Anyone like to give their example also? Not a problem. It's not a somewhere you felt that you succeeded in these 18 items of knowledge. There's nothing wrong also. Out of humility also you can share. Not a problem. And when somebody is sharing, we should also we'll also get some another angle of that devotee. Anyone would like to share? Yeah, yes, Sumit will share. Yeah. Mike? Okay.
That we should not eat a lot. We should eat half whatever the stomach can take the capacity. We should eat half, and some portion should leave for air and water also. So one time we were in Brahmachari Sangh. So there was one very senior devotee. So we were taking prasadam with him. So it happened to be some upma in the breakfast, which I don't like. So I really took half only.
Okay. Thank you.
So then what happened? That some other devotee who had made his plate, and he could not come by that time. So now we were leaving. So that senior devotee asked whose plate is that. We did not know whose. So he asked me to eat that. So because of our respect for that devotee, I ate that. And he said, Prabhu, you already had eaten. How you could eat one more plate? So he said, this ideally a brahmachari should be like this. You should only eat half. It was forced kind of following this.
Amazing. इससे मुझे मतलब I remember and I'm remembering another like one funny incident and very amazing Guru Shishya incident. So in the beginning years when Radha Shampoo had joined Chopadi temple at that time. So No, when he had come to Pune, he was in Pune, temple president. Chaitanya Prabhu was sharing this. That once Radhanath Swami Maharaj called all his disciples, and he had cookies and peda with him. So he asked all the brahmacharis, what you would like to take. Most of the brahmacharis told cookies, and Radheshyam told peda. So then what Maharaj did, he gave peda to all, and when it came to Radheshyam, he gave cookie. And then finally he asked all the brahmacharis to give back. Then he took all the cookies from everyone back, and peda from Radheshyam Prabhu. Cookie from Radheshyam Prabhu, peda from everyone else, and then combined one cookie, one peda, and distributed to everyone. Like, Prabhupada made East-West synthesis. So that's how he gave. So after that, I'm remembering. I just remembered Chaitanya Prabhu had shared this. So, anyways, so thank you for your sharing. And regarding eating the half stomach, I still have tough time in eating less than stomach full. I really admire if somebody eats half of the stomach. And my counselor Sundarshan Prabhu had told me that when he had joined ashram, then he would have tough time after eating to get up for some time. So that's how, and Sundarshan Prabhu is saying like that. So then I got confidence that I'm not on the right path, that I can eat. And then he said that with the age, as I have aged, then I have started eating less. But in the beginning, when 96-97 time Pune ashram, directly DT's Mahaprasad used to come to the ashram because there was hardly anyone. When DT's Mahaprasadam is coming, anyone because here there's no temple. So anyone of you have tasted Rajbhog or Mangal Bhog like this? When it comes directly from the DTs, the quality is very high class. So brahmacharis used to eat that in the earlier days. So anyways, thank you. So actually, these items of knowledge, when they are brought into practice in day-to-day life, then we are supposed to live like this in our life. We are supposed to follow or imbibe these qualities. And while imbibing these qualities, while following these principles, we may fail at some times, not a problem. But we should not stop trying to be like them. Like when you start learning cycling, person has to take care of the brakes, take care of the handle, and at the same time do paddling. 3 things together, then only one can do cycling. And person sometimes falls, and then not once but multiple times child may fall. Similarly, when a child starts learning walking, he falls multiple times. But then the good thing is the child has so much of excitement, enthusiasm, he doesn't give up. And that's how he learns walking. So that's how the child learns cycling. And after some time, he can even remove the hands and do cycling. So that's how, while practicing these principles, enthusiasm, the childlike enthusiasm is very much required. We may fail, multiple times we may fail, but we should not give up trying because our aspiration is very high. And not everyone is aspiring for such divine qualities, divine principles. It's not a problem, even if we have failed multiple times, but we should keep trying. That is the sublime process. Yeah. Somebody can read the purport again. Go ahead.
A great Acharya mentioned that all forms of material knowledge are merely external features of the illusory energy, and that by culturing them, one becomes no better than an ass. This same principle is found here in Sri Īśopaniṣad. By advancement of material knowledge, modern man is simply being converted into an ass. Some realistic politicians in spiritual guise decry the present system of civilization as satanic, but unfortunately, they do not care about the culture of real knowledge. as it is described in the Bhagavad Gita. Thus, they can situation.
Yeah. See, there are many revolutionists in this world. Many people have brought big revolution, but not all the revolution have brought some positive changes in the world. Okay, not all the revolutions led to something meaningful or purposeful in the life, unless those revolutions are guided by the right scriptural values. Those revolutions brought hardly any substantial upliftment for the society and the people in general. Okay, so if somebody is having that courage, it's good, but then that itself is not sufficient. He or she might be having their own understanding of what is right, what is wrong. Say in one of the empire, the kings fell and the communists came, and then they were more even deadly in the name of. Similarly, another place, another person fell and some other system came. Something else only, what was expected and what came out was completely different. So the solution to the problem which we are assuming, if it is not aligned with the scriptural values, the solution is not going to be permanent at all, for sure. It will lead to certain other problems. Dukkhaushadam tadapi dukkham. That's how this material world is. The solution to one problem leads to another problem. So best course of action is to live by the scriptural values at all point of time. That will serve the situation or people or humanity in long run. That will be beneficial for ourselves. That will be beneficial for the society and whole community at large. Okay, and whenever we are living by these values, and whether world is recognizing us or not, but we are always successful. Okay, because not all people are recognized. Those some are recognized for sure, but then not all are recognized. Like in Mahabharat war, when we hear, what all name comes to our mind? Bhishma, yeah. But there were so many soldiers, foot soldiers who died. And Bhagavatam says that they all perfected their lives because while dying they were seeing Krishna's face. They perfected their lives. Although they might not be famous. But then their life was not in vain. So we may or may not become famous or recognized by the world. But then living by the right principles always is beneficial for ourselves and for the society. We are doing positive contribution. Okay. So any revolution or any kind of thing which we want to bring about, first is it should be aligned with the scriptures, and we should imbibe first in our lives, and then do whatever best we can do for the outside world. But first, if somebody wants to bring out change outside and thinking very less about inside, then such people had become like, unfortunately, they started with the right purpose, right intention, but most of them ended up being a corrupt leaders. In one of the, and most of them became like dictators, or like they did a lot of mass killings of human beings, and very, very cruel. They ended up, and they thought that they're doing good to the world. Okay. So they cannot change the satanic situation. Go ahead.
In the modern society, even a boy thinks himself self-sufficient and pays no respect to elderly men. Due to the wrong type of education being imparted in our universities, boys all over the world are giving their elders headaches. Thus, Sri Īśopaniṣad very strongly warns that the culture of nescience is different from that of knowledge. The universities are, so to speak, centers of nescience only. Consequently, scientists are busy discovering lethal weapons to wipe out the existence of other countries. University students today are not given instructions in the regulative principles of brahmacharya, celibate student life, nor do they have any faith in any scriptural injunctions. Religious principles are taught for the sake of name and fame only, and not for the sake of practical action. Thus, there is animosity not only in the social and political fields, but in the field of religion as well.
Yeah. Because people are not given the training of self-control. Okay. So everyone is trying to enjoy the senses. And no matter what, how much ever we try to enjoy the senses will never be satisfied, first of all. And the capacity to enjoy is also very limited, unfortunately. More we try to enjoy, more will become unsatisfied, and hanker will start increasing, and the demonic values of demonic nature of the person comes out. There is a it's not that senses can be deprived completely of the enjoyment, but while doing the duties, while fulfilling our responsibilities, whatever sense enjoyment comes, that is our prescribed quota. That we are allowed to enjoy and be happy. To keep our body and soul together, we eat. And we eat tasty food. That's okay. While taking care of, some certain services, certain resources are given to someone. That is okay. But then, if someone becomes, attached or start looking for resources or facilities, so then again the senses take in different direction. That's why this Bhakta Sangha is very much important for each and every individual. It keeps the check. It keeps the right check. And sometimes in some of the temples, I heard Chopadi temple, their department also keeps changing time to time. Is this right, Prabhuji? Not completely now. Okay, fine. So that was in Kanpur. It was not the case. Somebody has got the experience of that department long term, so then he was only given the department because they have got the experience and the values. उसमें एकदम identity develop हो जाता है. This area is mine. If someone else comes in my area, I have faced this. If someone else comes in my area, then they have to take my permission. Till the time we are not in that situation, we understand, yeah. But when I am in that situation, I know. So that's how it is. Right. Yes, please go ahead, read further.
Nationalism has developed in different parts of the world due to the cultivation of nescience by the general people. No one considers that this tiny earth is just a lump of matter floating in the immeasurable space along with many other lumps. In comparison to the vastness of space, these material lumps are like dust particles in the air. Because God has kindly made these lumps of matter complete in themselves, they are perfectly equipped with all necessities for floating in space. The drivers of our spaceships may be very proud of their achievements, but they do not consider the supreme driver of this generator. These greater, more gigantic spaceships called planets.
So here, Prabhupada is trying to emphasize the insignificant nature of every living entity. So we may do big achievements in our life, but then at the same time, while achieving big results and big things, we should understand that in a universal plane, it has got very insignificant value. No matter whatever achievements we do, but on a higher plane, it has got very, very little value. And that's how we remain grounded. While taking care of our responsibilities, while fulfilling our duties, it's always important to remain grounded. Our foot should remain on ground. Head might be in the sky, but foot should always be in the ground. Otherwise, we may face chaotic situation in our personal life. And what happens that when we take care of certain responsibilities, ego comes. It is not that it doesn't come, but then when we are fixed up in the right principles, it gets dissolved or channelized or taken care of slowly, eventually. Roji, you can feel free to add anytime whatever you want to say, both of you. Yeah, please go ahead.
There are innumerable suns and innumerable planetary systems also, as infinitesimal parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. We small creatures are trying to dominate these unlimited planets. Thus, we take repeated birth and death and are generally frustrated by old age and disease. The span of human life is scheduled for about 100 years, although it is gradually decreasing to 20 or 30 years. Thanks to the culture of nations, befooled men have created their own nations within these planets in order to grasp sense enjoyment more effectively for these few years. Such foolish people draw up various plans to render national demarcations perfectly, a task that is totally impossible. Yet, for this purpose, each and every nation has become a source of anxiety for others. More than 50% of a nation's energy is devoted to defense measures and thus spoiled. No one cares for the cultivation of real knowledge, yet people are falsely proud of being advanced in both material and spiritual knowledge.
Yeah. Right. So now again, Prabhupada is condemning the wrong civilization, the wrong value system, how the demarcation of nation or state or whatever is being done. Not even nation. These days, you see, even there's some of the state police also have fought like enemies. If I think you are not aware of even within India, some of the state police they have fought like almost border fight. It has happened between the state police even within country. So whenever we are having this false identification, so what is to be a nation? Even within the nations, two states police have fought, and neighbors also keep fighting for properties. This is my area. This is my khasra, and the boundary goes like this. The boundary goes like this, and then they keep fighting in the court. Sometimes you might be seeing in the newspaper that sometimes killing also happens. And neighbors, what? Even within the same family, brothers, sisters fighting and killing each other also has happened. When this aham and mama, this bhav is too much imbibed, so yes, it's required to take care of one's assets, properties, resources. It's very much required. It's not that one should give it up, but then right perspective also has to be seen. The right understanding, the right maturity of the scriptural values should be intact. Yeah, go ahead.
Sri Īśopaniṣad warns us of this faulty type of education, and the Bhagavad Gita gives instructions as to the development of real knowledge. This mantra states that the instructions of Vidya, knowledge, must be acquired from a Dhira. A Dhira is one who is not disturbed by material illusion. No one can be undisturbed unless he is perfectly spiritually realized, at which time one neither hankers nor laments for anything. A Dhira realizes that the material body and mind he has acquired by chance through material association are but foreign elements. Therefore, he simply makes the best use of a bad bargain.
Yeah. Go ahead.
The material body and mind are bad bargains for the spiritual living entity. The living entity has actual functions in the living spiritual world. But this material world is dead. As long as the living spiritual spark manipulates the dead lump of matter, the dead world appears to be a living world. Actually, it is the living souls, the parts and parcels of the Supreme Living Being who moves the world. The Dhiras have come to know all these facts by hearing them from the superior authorities and have realized this knowledge by following the regulative principles.
The Dhira of the Bhagavad Gita, which Prabhupada has described in the previous paragraph, their application is being discussed here. When a person is Dhira, who is well established in his knowledge, who knows that we are not the body, we are a spirit soul, and whatever this body appears to be functioning, it is because of the presence of soul. Once the soul leaves the body, whatever activities or functions you are able to see in the body immediately stops. On the spot stops. Okay? And till the time soul is present in the body, this body appears to be very lively, functioning, active, and colorful, cheerful, whatever. But the soul is always cheerful, Sachidananda. Okay? The subtle body, which is the covering over the soul, it gives a different nature to each and every individual. Sometimes some individual appears to be serious. Sometimes some individual appears to be jolly. Sometimes some individual appears to be whatever it is, whatever the kind of situation. But actually, this is just the covering over the soul, nothing else. Soul in itself is always Sachidananda, nothing else, and belongs to spiritual world, where the soul is always jolly, cheerful, happy, playful, and serving the servant of the Lord. Not at all evil. So that is the eternal position. Till the time soul reaches there, one has to undergo all these tribulations for long, long years. Yeah, go ahead.
To follow the regulative principles, one must take shelter of a bona fide spiritual master. The transcendental message and regulative principles come down from the spiritual master to the disciple. Such knowledge does not come in the hazardous way of science education. One can become a dhira only by submissively hearing from a bona fide spiritual master. Arjuna, for example, became a dhira by submissively hearing from Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead himself. Thus, the perfect disciple must be like Arjuna, and the spiritual master must be as good as the Lord himself. This is the process of learning vidya, knowledge from the dhira, the undisturbed.
Yeah. Go ahead. Last paragraph.
An adhira, one who has not undergone the training of adhira, cannot be an instructive leader. Modern politicians who pose themselves as dhiras are actually adhiras, and one cannot expect perfect knowledge from them. They are simply busy seeing to their own remuneration in dollars and cents. How then can they lead the mass of people to the right path of self-realization? Thus, one must hear submissively from a dhira in order to attain actual education.
Yeah. Mantra 10 and Mantra 13 are very similar. 13th one. And when we'll go to 13, we'll see exactly. 13 is like this. And who all have book? Who knows the book? Okay. Just you can, those who have the book, they can open 13. Ahu sambhavat, anyad ahur asambhavat. Iti shushuma dhirana yenastad vichachakshire. Here, anyad evahu vidyaya, anyad ahur avidyaya. Iti shushuma dhirana yestandanya vichachakshire. So one result is observed. Similarly, the mantra. So one result is obtained by something, another result is obtained by another thing. That is the again vidya is elaborately discussed. Again and again being repeatedly discussed. Yeah. So any question, any comment, or would you like to comment? Any question till now? Whatever we discussed. Fine. We'll go to the next mantra then. 11. Yeah. Vidyamsha tadvedo bhayam saha avidyaya mrityum tirtva vidyamritam ashnute. Is the translation?
Of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality.
Yeah. Vidya cha avidyam cha यह तद वेद उभयम सह. उभयम मतलब दोनों को एक साथ जो सीखता है. ठीक है. अविद्या मृत्युम तीर्थवा. अविद्या leads to मृत्यु. विद्याया अमृतम अश्नुते. That person can lead or go, leaving avidya and going to vidya, he can achieve liberation. Okay. And few verses back, even this vidya was condemned, which was deprived of devotional service, if you remember. One result is obtained by karma kanda, and the result was obtained by impersonal liberation. Further darker was by impersonal liberation, if you remember. Yesterday we discussed that. Okay. So here the vidya which is being discussed is not the same vidya. The vidya which is not deprived of the devotional service. Okay. Clear? So the same terminology is being used contextually in different contexts. Okay. Okay, fine. Read the translation.
Since translation.
Translation is already read, right?
Purport.
purport. Yeah.
Since the creation of the material world, everyone has been trying to attain a permanent life. But the laws of nature are so cruel that no one has been able to avoid the hand of death. No one wants to die, nor does anyone want to become old or diseased. The law of nature, however, does not allow anyone immunity from old age, disease, or death. Nor has the advancement of material knowledge solved these problems. Material science can discover the nuclear bomb to accelerate the process of death, but it cannot discover anything that can protect man from cruel hands of old age, disease, and death.
Yeah. So first Prabhupada is discussing the Vidya. First he starts the Vidya that even somebody is advanced in material knowledge, they are accelerating the process of death. Lot of discoveries or lot of research is being done to achieve immortality. Okay, but then another place, lot of research is going on to accelerate death. Fine. So ultimately, what is happening is this: avidya is being propagated. The biggest right now, biggest driving force of economy, world economy right now is the weapon of the war. सबसे ज्यादा खर्चा पूरे दुनिया के कंट्रीज उस पर खर्चा कर रहे हैं. More than 1/4 of the economy of the world is driven by wars. Same amount of money, if it would have been channelized for the development, there would be no hungry people. And people blame us. What you religious people are doing for feeding the poor. Now what for prosperous nations are doing for feeding the poor or what to stop the wars? No, nothing. Promoting the wars. So that poor remains poor and rich remains rich. And the disparity should remain. So what we are trying to do is to bring about the reformation, the heart transformation of the world. That is actually the solution. Otherwise, when people are driven by selfish motives and agendas, wars can never be stopped. Okay? So, big scientific achievements, big scientists, big knowledge, it is all considered avidya till the time it is not serving the rightful purpose of Īśavāsa Upanishad. Īśavāsam idam sarvam yatkincham jagatyam jagat. Tena taktena bhunjita māgvida kasasvidhanam. Knowing well that this whole world is pervaded by the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the wise one leaves aside what is not his for the others. Okay? That is the biggest solution.
A king who was very much advanced materially, wanting to conquer cruel death by his material acquisitions and the strength of his nescience, he underwent a type of meditation so severe that the inhabitants of all the planetary systems became disturbed by his mystic powers. He forced the creator of the universe, the demigod Brahma, to come down to him. He then asked Brahma for the benediction of becoming Amara, by which one does not die. Brahma said that he could not award the benediction because even he, the material creator who rules all planets, is not Amara. As confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 8.17, Brahma lives a long time, but that does not mean he is immortal.
Yeah. Fine. Hiranyakashipu, successful. Materially, no one right now is as successful as Hiranyakashipu. For sure. He was the unchallenged ruler of universe, actually. Not just one country or one planet. Unchallenged ruler. But his sovereignty was questioned by one child. Just one child. He could have left that child, okay, leave it. एक ही तो लड़का है, छोड़ो. No. But that gave him so much of insecurity that even one child is not accepting my sovereignty. How it can happen? So that is the nature of material world. Biggest of the biggest successful rulers, people will become insecure when their sovereignty is challenged by even minuscule amount of population of the world, because that's the nature of ego, the false ego. That's the nature of mortal world. No matter whosoever the person is, they can never become satisfied and secure in life. On the other hand, any person, whether he or she does not possess anything, immediately they can attain satisfaction and security at heart by taking up the bhakti. There is no fear for the person who has taken up the path of bhakti properly, अच्छे से. Even the scripture says that the person can blindfold himself and walk with full speed, still that person will not fall down. One who has fixed up in bhakti. Why? The path is so secure that it can be questioned that how much successful he will be. Successful, more successful, most successful, more successful, like that. The superlative degree. But there is no loss in the path of bhakti. Neha bhikramana shosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya rayate mahato bhayat. Biggest of the biggest fearful situations can be avoided by doing small amount of bhakti also. Okay? So, what process we are following is not going in vain. Okay? We may chant while sleeping, no problem. No, we may sleep while chanting, I would say. Then what chant while sleeping? Okay, that is too. Arjuna used to do that. We may sleep while chanting. Okay. We may, our mind may wander, or we may think, oh my God, this class is too long, or prasadam, I'm hungry. Okay, no problem, not a problem. But even if we are doing it, we are doing efforts. It's not going in vain. It's uplifting our internal consciousness. And at the same time, it is uplifting the consciousness of the people around this place, this world. Okay? We discussed in the beginning class, first class only, that this world is still functioning because there are people who are still living by the Ishavasya principle. Otherwise, this world will become a horrible place. In Bhagavatam, this Bhumi Devi says that there is no dearth of resources with me, but I will not give the resources because sinful kings are ruling. Okay? So when there are dharmic kings or dharmic citizens, then automatically the nature will start cooperating. But when adharma prevails, the nature will withdraw and will not share the resources. Okay? Please go ahead.
Hiranya means gold and Kashipu means soft bed. This cunning gentleman Hiranyakashipu was interested in these two things, money and women, and he wanted to enjoy them by becoming immortal. He asked from Brahma many benedictions in hopes of indirectly fulfilling his desire to become immortal. Since Brahma told him that he could not grant to the gift of immortality, Hiranyakashipu requested that he not be killed by any man, animal, god, or any other living being within the 8,400,000 species. He also asked that he not die on land, in the air or water, or by any weapon. In this way, Hiranyakashipu foolishly thought these guarantees would save him from death. Ultimately, however, although Brahma granted him all these benedictions, he was killed by the personality of Godhead in the form of Narasimha, the Lord's half-lion, half-man incarnation, and no weapon was used to kill him, for he was killed by the Lord's nails, nor was he killed on the land, in the air, or in the water, for he was killed on the lap of that wonderful living being, Narasimha, who was beyond his conception.
So whatever successful person you become by avidya, okay? How much soever successful you become by avidya, it is going to end shortly. It does not last very long. Hiranyakashipu did tapasya for how many years? 100 celestial years. That means how many earth years? Almost 36,000, almost, because one day of Swargloka is almost 360 days here. Swargloka, Indraloka, one day there is 360 days here. So 100 celestial years, I'm assuming Indra's 100 celestial years. So into 360, 36,000 years. And how much he ruled? First of all, after that he achieved powers. Then he had to fight for few years. Then how much he ruled? How much he ruled? 5-10 years, that's it. Till the time Prahlad was 5 years old, he ruled that much. Itna mehnat, itna takat, effort. And then Shadbhangur. And Prahlad, after that Prahlad ruled. He ruled for 36,000 years. So when we achieve something by our own efforts, we can achieve whatever karmas, whatever tapasya we have done. But when we achieve something out of grace, kripa by the Lord, that achievement will supersede all our tapasya, all our expectations, also all our anything. You cannot even imagine. Dhruv Maharaj also ruled for 36,000 years. Entire planet Earth. Okay. So even material well-being, when it is coming from Krishna, it is long-lasting and fulfilling. And when we achieve on our own, even if we achieve our desired result, our desired goal, still it will not give us that satisfaction and fulfillment. We may achieve that, but will not be satisfied. Akama sarvakamo va mokshit kama udaradi tivrena bhakti yogena vijeta purusham param. So even for material well-being, better to take shelter of Krishna only. Because when he gives, he will give in a way which will be fulfilling and satisfying to us. We do our efforts, we do the rightful means, but then we also depend upon Krishna. Fine. So Hiranyakashipu's example is very classic for any materialist, because no one can be more successful materialist than Hiranyakashipu. Ever. And after becoming such a successful materialist also, gone. And been reduced to ashes. That's it. And within like short-lived time. So much of effort, so much of years, but then very short-lived. Jai Shri Radha Govinda Bhagwan ki, Shri Radha Sudhar Maharani ki, Jai Shri Gauratai ki, Jai. So, what can be bigger example than Hiranyakashipu? Okay, go ahead.
The whole point here is that even Hiranyakashipu, the most powerful of materialists, could not become deathless by his various plans. What then can be accomplished by the teeny Hiranyakashipus of today, whose plans are toward from moment to moment?
Thwarted.
Moment
to moment.
Moment to moment.
Yeah, go ahead.
Īśopaniṣad instructs us not to make one-sided attempts to win the struggle for existence. Everyone is struggling hard for existence, but the laws of material nature are so hard and fast that they do not allow anyone to surpass them. In order to attain a permanent life, one must be prepared to go back to Godhead.
Yeah. If someone really wants to live a death-free life, only place is spiritual world. And only way is bhakti of the Lord. No other way. Yeah, the process.
The process by which one goes back to Godhead is a different branch of knowledge, and it has to be learned from revealed by the scriptures such as the Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam. To become happy in this life and attain a permanent blissful life after leaving this material body, one must study this sacred literature and obtain transcendental knowledge The conditioned living being has forgotten his eternal relationship with God and has mistakenly accepted the temporary place of his birth as all in all. The Lord has kindly delivered the above mentioned scriptures in India and other scriptures in other countries to remind the forgetful human being that his home is not here in this material world. The living being is a spiritual entity and he can be happy only by returning to his spiritual home.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
From his kingdom, the personality of Godhead sends his bona fide servants to propagate this message by which one can return to Godhead. And sometimes the Lord comes himself to do this work. Since all living beings are his beloved sons, his parts and parcels, God is more sorry than we ourselves to see the sufferings we are constantly undergoing in this material condition. The miseries of this material world serve to indirectly remind us of our incompatibility with dead matter. Intelligent living entities generally take note of these reminders and engage themselves in the culture of Vidya or transcendental knowledge. Human life is the best opportunity for the culture of spiritual knowledge, and a human being who does not take advantage of this opportunity is called a Naradama, the lowest of human beings.
Yeah. So even if somebody is given the opportunity to perform bhakti, he is given the association of devotees and a guru, and after that also he doesn't pick up the bhakti. What great unfortune! What better situation could have been given to that person? But then even if after that someone doesn't pick up, nothing can be done much. Okay, but devotees, what they do, if somebody doesn't pick up, at least give some agyat sukriti. So whenever we are doing Harinam Sankirtan, those people who are watching, even enviously, they get some agyat sukriti. When we distribute do Rath Yatra, so many people watch, they all get agyat sukriti. And it has impact, long lasting impact. If not this life, they'll become devotees some other life, not a problem. But these all activities should continuously be done. Even if people are not ready to accept, they'll get some agyat sukriti, they'll get some amount of pious credits by which slowly eventually they'll advance in bhakti. And that's how, in some lifetime we also could have been such Naradhamas kind of people. That people came and then some tried to help us, but then still we are here. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and gone, but still we are here. कुछ तो मतलब अच्छे से किया होगा ना हम लोगों ने, तभी तो आज तक रुके हुए हैं. So that's why we should keep doing these efforts so that right now we can elevate ourselves, our consciousness, as well as try to help other people. Okay, nothing goes in vain. Yeah, go ahead further.
The path of avidya or advancement of material knowledge for sense gratification is the path of repeated birth and death. As he exists spiritually, the living entity has no birth or death. Birth and death apply to the outward covering of the spirit soul, the body. Death is compared to the taking off and birth to the putting on of outward garments. Foolish human beings who are grossly absorbed in the culture of avidya, in essence, do not mind this cruel process. Enamored with the beauty of the illusory energy, they undergo the same miseries repeatedly and do not learn any lessons from the laws of nature. Therefore, the culture of vidya or transcendental knowledge is essential for the human being. Sense enjoyment is the diseased mental condition, must be restricted as far as possible. Unrestricted sense enjoyment in this bodily condition is the path of ignorance and death. The living entities are not without spiritual senses. Every living being in his original spiritual form has all the senses which are now materially manifested. Being covered by the material body and mind, the activities of the material senses are perverted reflections of the activities of the original spiritual senses. In his diseased condition, the spirit soul engages in material activities under the material covering. Real sense enjoyment is possible only when the disease of materialism is removed. In our pure spiritual form, free from all material contamination, real enjoyment of the senses is possible. A patient must regain his health before he can truly enjoy sense pleasure again. Thus, the aim of human life should not be to enjoy perverted sense enjoyment, but to cure the material disease. Aggravation of the material disease is to is no sign of knowledge, but a sign of avidya, ignorance. For good health, a person should not increase his fever from 105 degrees to 107 degrees, but should reduce his temperature to the normal 98.6. That should be the aim of human life. The modern trend of metal civilization is to increase the temperature of the feverish metal condition, which has reached the point of 107 degrees in the form of atomic energy. Meanwhile, the foolish politicians are crying that at any moment the world may go to hell. That is the result of the advancement of mental knowledge and the neglect of the most important part of life, the culture of spiritual knowledge. Īśopaniṣad herein warns that we must not follow this dangerous path leading to death, nor on the contrary, we must develop the culture of spiritual knowledge so that we may become completely free from the cruel hands of death.
Yeah. So see, in this world, when we are living in the material world, we always enjoy the material pleasures also. Okay, like we eat this. Now we are eating prasadam, but still we have some liking for certain prasadam. We take prasadam also tasty in a tasty way, not a problem. But then our material enjoyments or our material aspirations should not go to that degree that it becomes 107 degree fever. That's what Prabhu is saying. Better is our fever should reduce and our spiritual elevation should increase. But then we should not keep on working on more and more material facilities, more and more material enjoyment. No, that is the problem. Because each and every person is trying to say, okay, I will only enjoy more material. So then the whole community goes like this. We will enjoy more material pleasures. Then the whole country goes like, we will enjoy more material pleasures. And whosoever comes in the way of my material pleasure is my enemy. And whosoever supports my material pleasure is my friend. So most of the world leaders, when they meet and when they give joint statements, it's like that. We two countries, we have a lot of common interests together. So that's why we are friends, because we have common interests together. And what is that common interest? Again, sense gratification. Okay, hardly anything is spoken about spiritual upliftment, but common interest, and we will not compromise on our self-interest. Openly, this is being spoken, and this is considered the right diplomatic language. We will not compromise our self-interest on the name of friendship. Okay. So, but spiritual life works in a different way altogether. Of course, while living in the material world, we have to take care of our certain basic needs. That is okay. But then there's no end to the material pleasures. There's no end to the material aspirations. Nothing. And while in the course of executing my services, whenever I met, say, when I was meeting one of the big steel giant of India. Okay. So he was talking to his colleague that we have to focus on this mines. Now auctions are being done. So we only should arrange the auction in such a way that we remain the best bidder, and other bidders who can compete with us, they should be kept out, and those we should arrange some bidders or false bidding in such a way that our bidding should remain. So they were making strategies that even bidding process becomes biased. That's all. What is that bidding process being biased? Okay, we don't understand it. I think I gave the wrong example, but the smooth process of the transparency also is not transparent in this world. Everyone tries to manipulate the resources or the people or the world in such a way that my self-interest is being served to the best extent. Mine. And everyone should try to serve me. And I should become God. Anyone else? No. So if every living entity tries to become God, then what will happen to the world? So many wars, so many conflicts, so many disagreements. That's what is happening right now. Because everyone is trying to be the center of the world, center of their lives. So that's how Prabhupada is writing here. This material life or material aspirations has no upper limit. it will keep arising conflicts. Yeah, please go ahead.
This does not mean that all activities for the maintenance of the body should be stopped.
Yeah.
There is no question of stopping activities, just as there is no question of wiping out one's temperature altogether when trying to recover from a disease. To make the best use of a bad bargain is the appropriate expression. The culture of spiritual knowledge necessitates the help of the body and mind. Therefore, maintenance of the body and mind is required if we are to reach our goal. The normal temperature should be maintained at 98.6 degrees, and the great sages and saints of India have attempted to do this by a balanced program of spiritual and material knowledge. They never allow the misuse of human intelligence for disease sense gratification.
Yeah. Go next paragraph directly. The path of Vidya is most perfectly
The
presented.
path of Vidya is most perfectly presented in Srimad Bhagavatam, which directs a human being to utilize his life to inquire into the absolute truth. The absolute truth is realized step by step as Brahman, Paramatma, and finally Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. The absolute truth is realized by the broad-minded man who has attained knowledge and detachment by following the 18 principles of the Bhagavad Gita described in the purport of Mantra 10. The central purpose of these 18 principles is the attainment of transcendental devotional service to the personality of Godhead. Therefore, all classes of men are encouraged to learn the art of devotional service to the Lord.
Yeah. Go ahead further.
The guaranteed path to the aim of Vidya is described by Srila Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which we have presented in the English as the nectar of devotion. The culture of Vidya is summarized in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.14 in the following verse. Tasmadekena manasa bhagavan satvatam patihi shotavya kirtitavya dhyayaha nitya pujyada. Therefore, with one-pointed attention, one should constantly hear about, glorify, remember, and worship the personality of Godhead, who is the protector of the devotees. Unless religion, economic development, and sense gratification aim toward the attainment of devotional service to the Lord, they are all simply different forms of nescience, as Sri Īśopaniṣad indicates in the following mantras.
Okay. So, when we are in this material world and when we have this human body, we are required to do certain efforts for material well-being also. It's the dire need and its requirement that is acceptable. But then conflict arises when our efforts tries to take upon others their resources, and when our greed increases, and whenever जय श्री श्री राधा गोविंद भगवान की, श्री श्री वल्लभ सुधा महारानी की, गौरताई की, श्री भगवान की जय. So this balance is always very difficult to ascertain. Okay, for that we need good spiritual practices, good spiritual sangha, good sadhana. Lack of that always will start giving rise to conflicts, because my interest will not be served always. Unfortunately or fortunately, whenever my interest is not being served, then we start creating the conflicts and start becoming enemies to the people who are becoming obstacles on the path of my sense gratification. But then this wisdom, this maturity of this spiritual life, and of using our wisdom again and again, we go by the default option. Enough. But that's how it is. The world is. So I will stop here. Prabhuji, you would like to say something? Comment something? Damodar Prabhu? It is kuch to question. Okay.